Heads of Paper is a story I made so long ago. It's like 5, 6, almost 7 years old. And I didn't realize it until I looked at a bunch of these old drawings I made for these characters so long ago. It's basically like Wander Over Yonder meets Owl House meets Amphibia. It is a multiverse story overlapping with a bunch of other different worlds, galaxies, and universes. So basically what I'm saying is, Owl House, you owe me some money. Sorry, you owe me money. So do you, Amphibia, okay? This was my idea first. AKA, my OCs do not steal. Okay, anyways. Really though, because the series is so old, there's so many problems with it. I made it when I was like 14, 13, probably a little bit older than that, but definitely young enough to where my story writing kind of sucked. A girl named Sarah is bullied into stealing a magic item. Said magic item teleports her into another world, a fantastic, horrible, and beautiful creation, and she has to find out her way home with the help of a grumpy emo, a book smart jerk, and 2 children. Yeah, so basically the Owl House and Amphibia. I know, it sounds like basically I'm stealing from them, but listen, hear me out, I promise. Listen, bro, I was not, like, stealing from them, okay? I did not have, this was random ideas, and it's a mix of things that I already liked, like Star vs. the Force of Evil or Wander Over Yonder. There's still so much I'm trying to figure out with Heads of Paper, because it's literally an amalgamation of things I really liked as a kid with hardly any through thought and terrible character development that I want to change so badly. I have so much love for these characters because I've had them for so long, and they're honestly one of my oldest OCs that have stuck around through my digital and traditional art progress. There's still so much I need to do to make it actually a good story. Sarah Ortiz Hidasol Brown was born in America, specifically Tennessee, to her black dad and her white Puerto Rican mom on Earth 123.1. Earth 123.1 is basically our planet, but with some strange differences. For example, there are no dogs, at least, or cats. Not ones that you can, like, make pets. They have, like, wolves and, like, hound dogs, but none that you can make into pets. The only pets that Sarah, as a character, will ever be compared to is a hyperactive weasel, because she's kind of like a golden retriever, very friendly, but she would literally never be compared to a dog until she leaves the planet, because again, they don't have that. Sarah originally started as a self-insert in a way. I kind of put all my personality, at least what I thought my personality was back then, into her character. But she also isn't me. There's so much about Sarah's character that's so different from me, and that's because of the work I'd put in at random intervals when I remember this story even existed. But overall, since that my 19-year-old self has come back and edited a lot of it, Sarah is a very energetic and thoughtful character. She's often seen as gullible or stupid to many people who don't understand her, but can be very intuitive and vulnerable in certain moments. And she also knows a lot of random information that she stored into her brain, just like me, for real. Basically just straight up low-key autistic. She's clumsy and can be a bit of a pushover due to her quote-unquote friends forcing her to do a lot of things that she'd rather not do, including ostracizing people she would consider friends, or often bullying people she would want to be friends with. She has a sister, that's her only other sibling. She also has grandparents that she visits in Puerto Rico, sometimes specifically during like big holidays, or like summer break, but you know, she's not around them all the time. Her sister Aria died from cancer 2 years ago when Sarah was 16, and She's been dealing with the trauma of losing her sister for a long time. Sarah's now an only child, and her parents want to do what's best for her, so they often dote on her, causing them to be clingy. They often make Sarah feel like she's suffocating under their overbearing expectations and want to kind of coddle her. Due to the cancer, her sister suffered her whole life, as well as Sarah, being the second child, allowed to do more and more reckless things without much more attention, because all the attention needed to go to her sister, and Sarah often felt left out. That's why this overbearing, random, big focus on her is really overwhelming. Sarah's only impulsive with what she says, not what she does. Sarah feels like she has to tone down her energetic nature for others, making them believe she's more gullible and naive than she actually is. She'd often act her true self around people she'd believe that can quote-unquote handle her, like Arya or her parents. She does mess up a lot. She's a thoughtful person and tries her best to make sure everybody is happy. One of the worst things Sarah has to do for her quote-unquote friends is bully other people. Never really beating them up, mostly just making fun of them or outcasting them. The only time she'd be touching them would be to knock books out of their hands or throw a drink in their face. Never to actually completely physically bully them, putting their head in the toilet. Nah. She's not swirling anybody, bro. That's not her thing. She feels horrible for treating people who don't deserve it like shit. And she knows that. But she feels like she has to do it in order to keep up with her friends who are honestly very popular in her high school. And popular in the normal way. I'm sorry. This isn't a Teen Beach movie show, y'all. Though I love Teen Beach movie. This isn't a weird type of hierarchy where it's oh my god, it's Heather, and Heather. No, it's not, guys. It's literally pretty normal. They're just known more. Teachers know them. It's that type of normal popular that I grew up with. It's okay if you had that hierarchy as a kid, but I don't know what that's like. So it's not gonna be my story, sorry. She also, however, feels like she can't stop. She owes her friends this because they're popular and they give her the space to be herself. And they were also the ones who helped her through her sister's death, comforting her, making sure she's not picked on during that time. They also bailed her out of a lot of things she almost got in trouble for, like getting into fights, emotional and verbal, not physical, arguing with teachers, or skipping class. Overall, Sarah is a charismatic, jumpy, and bright person. That's why in all of her outfits that I'm drawing, as you can see on the screen, they're very out there, colorful, and experimental, because she really has her own thing going, and it's one of the few things she has control over. She feels like she has control over when it comes to her life. She couldn't control her sister's death. She couldn't control the way her friends act, but she can control how she dresses. And it's one of the ways she expresses herself in public that isn't the complete mask that she puts on for other people. And that's Sarah. She is my beautiful bean. I love her so much. I really do. She, though used to be a self-insert, I feel like she's kind of detached herself from me. She's very different from me. But she also has a lot of people-pleasing qualities that I used to have as a kid. And I see myself in her, even though she is only a year younger than me in canon. For random fun facts, Sarah's a demigirl, she's pansexual, she hates spiders, and her pronouns are she, they. Another detail that I want to point out about Earth 123.1 would be that it's cut off from magic. Each other world that I will explain eventually when I go into more details about this story, head to paper as a story, is that honestly completely random that Sarah ends up on a different dimension than the one she's existing in, because Earth 1.3.1 is cut off from every other dimension. And that's Sarah. As I said, complicated start, but I love her. Leo Kawada. Leo, the best way to put this, he's like the mix. Okay, if my personality in middle school was like Sarah's, my outward appearance and demeanor was like Leo's. He is an angry, self-centered motherfucker who pushes off anybody and anything that's in his way to get what he wants. Leo is a complicated character, but, you know, it takes a lot to be complicated. Leo's pronouns are he, they. Gender-wise, he is a demi-boy, but if you'd ask him, he'd say he was a man, because, I don't know, I feel like his girlfriend, would have talked to him about it, but, like, he doesn't actually understand what it means, and he would relate to more of it if she actually got the chance to explain it to him. His sexuality is bisexual. He's a bi guy. His fear is getting close to people. Yeah. Who would have guessed? Look at him. He's Mavis's age, which is 118, which he's a vampire, okay? Whoa, yeah, I know. Really surprising. I mean, look at him. Look at him. Look what I did. Look at middle school me for 2 seconds. Yeah, he's a vampire. Yeah. Basically, a sad, depressed emo boy with attachment issues and smoking problems. Leo is very guarded character and often comes off as a jerk to Sarah and the more people who talk to him. He shuts everyone out of his life, even when they mean well. Sometimes it's because of his upbringing. Other times it's related to the death of his girlfriend, Lavinia, or Liv. Basically, his girlfriend died mysteriously, okay? And it's kind of made him bitter this entire time. He was technically raised by someone who found him off the street and took care of him. Jolop, took Leo in and made him work under him since then. Leo was like 4 to 5 during this time, by the way. Like, he was really young. And the reason is because his family's house burned down. Yeah, I know. Real classic story writing. But I think I'm going to keep that aspect because it's interesting. Honestly, Leo often blames himself for these deaths, including his parents. Like, he looks at the death of his parents and had that same reaction when his girlfriend died, like, it's all my fault, and constantly blames himself for that, putting himself in this kind of spiral of despair that he often gets himself trapped in. And yeah, it's not healthy. It's not healthy. I know what you're gonna ask. Pluto, how did his girlfriend die? I'm getting to it. His girlfriend mysteriously died, as I said, but the way he found her was a pile of ash on his bed with her ring on it. And he doesn't know what happened. He was gone, like, he was out, probably to get her some flowers and shit. He's a pretty romantic guy, okay? You're gonna see in the drawing that I drew how he used to look with his long hair and everything, before his girlfriend died, you know? Really romantic. He was in love with her, like, in love. Like, trade his life for her type of shit. Like, I mean, really feel like he could be fixed by her type of shit. Like, he knew I'm broken, she could fix me type shit. Like, he was serious. Yeah, and that's why Leo wants to summon a demon. He wants to summon the demon to make a contract with them so he can find out how his parents and his girlfriend died. Because guess what? His parents' death is also a mystery. Oh my god, I can't stop with this shit. Yeah. What are they called? Plot holes. That's the real reality. Honestly, reality-wise, they're plot holes. But I feel like doing something really interesting and silly with it. I feel like, and also canonically, I'm saying canonically, this is, canonically, I feel like, Leo kind of wears his ring always to remember her by. He just feels like he can't remember his parents, and, like, that's his fault, like, he wasn't, like, 4, and he feels like because of that, he's failed them in some way, so he wants to make sure he can remember his girlfriend comparatively. With all of his problems, attachments, and emotional issues, he's trying his best. Throughout the whole story, I want him to just be trying his best. And when it comes down to it, we're gonna see what happens when he finds out who or what took/killed his girlfriend. Yeah, we're gonna find out, guys. We're gonna find out. I know, surprising. But I'm telling you, if little me was writing this right now, that would not happen. But I really want a sick story with that. I might turn his story into a whole revenge story and just really go ham on it. Like, find out who they are, meet them, type of, Avatar: The Last Airbender spoilers. I don't know how you've not seen this show. It came out like forever ago. Like, what, it came out when I was born? 2005? Did it come out 2005? Wait. Yeah. Whoa, it did. I'm right. I'm literally right. It came out in 2005. Right. Spoilers for Avatar: The Last Airbender. If you haven't seen it somehow, it's an amazing show. Watch it. That's a threat. Watch it. It's basically, I'm talking about when Kintara meets the guy who killed her mother. Yeah, where she almost killed him because she literally made Zuko find him with her, and he was like, "Hey, if you want to do this, I'll be whatever you choose, kill him or not. I'm on your side, girly." And yeah, she didn't end up killing him, but I'm gonna decide whether or not Leo does though, and knowing his personality and the problems he has, he might kill this person, whoever they end up being. Yeah. Alright. That's Leo. Carlovania, the world Leo is born and raised, is a place devoid of light. Used to be filled with flowers, flourishing joy, and beautiful plants, is now filled with only greed, hate, and destruction. Basically being Earth the bad ending, when capitalism completely takes over and kills everyone, everything in its wake, where rich people run everything without any regard for the poor people they're leaving behind. A horrible planet only enjoyed by people who rule at the top, who ravenously exploit the other classes left at the lower. The sun died decades ago. With it, hope of millions of people of Clovania. It reeks of blood and death, chilly from years without a sun. There is a moon, but its glow more resembles a black hole rather than a place where the sun used to be. It's said if you look at it for too long, it will swallow you, like the rich people did the sun. It's not completely dark though. It's not all darkness though. 2,600 glowing quote-unquote suns are technically in the sky. There are these big, luxurious, beautiful castles that glow so bright in the sky. And they're the only form of real stars or planets that are seen near Clovania. But this is above. Below, Clovania is dark, only being illuminated by torch lamps and bioluminescent plants and animals. Though tons of animals when it sank decades ago, a lot of them have evolved to survive the nature of today's planet. That's the shortest description I can give to Clovania as a planet. It's a very fun creation that, I say fun like this isn't a terrifying place to live, but it's very interesting and it says a lot about his character. Other than Leo's horrible original family life, he does have a mentor that I'll talk about in a later part, but here is his full design. I love him. Aiden Laurie Mayone, pronounced he, him, is born on a planet that his name is pending. Sorry, I'm still trying to figure out what I'm going to name this planet. Flash Dimension. I think it's had a name before, I've just forgotten what it is at the moment. Sorry. In the idea of each of these characters being a part of who I was when I was first writing this story, if Sarah is how I thought I was and Leo is how I looked, then Aiden is how I acted. He's a smartass, he's kind of a dick, and he can't help but be like the actually type of character in every moment, especially when I first created him. He was the kind of no-nonsense smart guy, even though he he didn't look as smart as anyone else. Like, also, not to say like I would give him glasses to make him look smart or anything. I don't know. He's just not cool enough to be trying to make other people feel bad about not being smart. You know what I mean? Like, okay, bro, relax. Because of this being like the only description of this character, even at the beginning, he is so blank when it comes to being a well-rounded character, bro. If being a well-rounded character is a circle, he does not even have a line drawn. Okay, he's just mid in all senses of the word. He's just a mid character. And that was his original creation until I asked Ty, my sibling, for help on what the heck I should do with this character. Basically handing the character to them and going, go ahead, do what you want. Because I didn't know what to do with him at all, other than, you know, keep the baseline, which is, as I said, hardly anything, of him being the smart guy and having the ability to be like a mage or something. And Ty took that character and flipped them on their head. Aiden has been established since I gave the character to Ty as a warlock, who's trying his best to read as much as possible and learn as much as possible, to not only improve his abilities but escape his very abusive mother. But in order to keep that up and stay out of her house as much as possible, he has so many jobs in different dimensions, at least 4, that he's working simultaneously, jumping from dimension to dimension to get his work done. Okay, very cartoonish, but also he has a schedule that he has to follow like every other day to make sure that he keeps up with them. I won't go into detail about how physically and emotionally abusive his mother is, because I feel like I should save that for a personal video where we tackle Aiden as a character and his relationships with his family. But for now, you're gonna know that part. I'm still figuring out how Aiden would actually meet the rest of the group. I feel like he needs to be a part of them for some reason, to like find a special book and like that'll help him like improve magic, or even like a very fucked up spell like that'll help his mom become like a better person in some way, something really traumatic like that, I don't know. And like in needing to find this special book, he runs into the group trying to find answers of their own. Why Sarah was sent to this dimension, why Leo can't find the original page of text where he was trying to summon the demon. Like all that info coming together to make this kind of mystery story of us trying to get answers in like the grand scheme of this like dimension hopping world. Also, compared to the demi boy and demi girl that is Leo and Sarah, Aiden is the first cisgender man in this cast. Not that there's anything wrong with that, I just think it's kind of silly. But it also makes sense for his character. I think originally he was something else and he was just gonna like find that out, but we ended up changing that. I don't remember why. I don't know. He also gives cis man vibes. He gives cis man vibes that like is coming into his own of realizing that gender is a construct so he can live the way that he wants to, even if that isn't his cis identity. Because of his mom's smoking problem, Leo reminds Aiden a lot of her. He is kind of put off by that also. Leo's just genuinely just he's just a dick, okay? He's a jerk that pushes everybody out of his life and talks shit about people and is just genuinely very rude and is very crass, and Aiden does not like that about him. The thing that makes it worse is the fact that he smokes and reminds him so much of his mom. It's like, oh my god, you're just so extra and I don't like that about you. And he tries his best not to hold that against Leo. Like, he gets that smoking is an addiction and it's his own problems, but he still holds that resentment towards Leo deep down. I was actually thinking of adding an extra layer to that resentment he holds for Leo, because I was gonna make vampires in Aiden's world be this mindless creature of the like evil devouring nature that takes and doesn't give. I think that's very interesting, especially since Leo's a vampire, and I think that adds like an extra layer. And also because of angst, like a vampire in Aiden's world kills his dad, like something like that makes him even more resent vampires for their existence, even though he knows in different dimensions, like he's aware, he reads tons of books, he's been in multiple dimensions, he knows that vampires are not the same in every dimension. He still has that internal bias about vampires and their existence. So Aiden could not escape. For his sexuality, he is queer and demisexual, so yeah, still got them in the rainbow flags. Sorry conservatives, it's just the way it is. I say that like there are any conservatives watching this video. Anyways, Aiden's world by itself is filled with witches and warlocks and magic and fairies and giants. It is filled to the brim with that. It is the epitome of your, not basic, but I'll say basic magic world. Think like Onward from that, that 2020 movie that came out that people were complaining about, even though, like, I really like it because I like that it kind of have, like, this modern Dungeons and Dragons vibe. I don't know, I like Onward, okay? Come at me, okay? The movie was cute, okay? And any family movie is gonna make me cry. It made me cry, guys. It made me cry. Sorry, I like it. Like, yeah, like, they have, like, unicorns and stuff, and, like, any like regular creature is replaced by a magical creature, except like magic. It seems like an Onward magic is less like a big thing. It's more like a legend, but not in this world. Magic is learned, taught, and explored, and it breathes through every part of this world. Which compared to Leo's, which has magic, but it's because this planet is so sucked dry and dying. The magic you find is very limited. And only in the people around and the creatures around, not in the planet itself. But Aiden's planet is the exact opposite of that. It is bright, it's beautiful, and it just has so much to offer. So you can imagine Sarah's reaction to this planet compared to Leo's, because it's the exact opposite, and it's literally everything she's ever imagined, except it isn't also, because she imagined like the classic witches or the classic giants, but like it's very modern and everybody's very not fantasy racist. Okay, I'm gonna clarify this right now. I'm probably going to put fantasy racism in my story only because it's interesting and it might cause conflict and it might add a lot to characters and their motivations. But I want to clarify that I do not like fantasy racism. I realized this when I got more into Dungeons and Dragons and more into fantasy stories, but fantasy racism is just real racism in a different coat of paint, and I don't like that. I'm sorry, I just don't. I feel like most people shouldn't, but we're so used to it. Like, oh, it's a goblin that hates a warlock. What's so weird about that? So weird. It's so not like real life. When like a lot of races in D&D are just caricatures of real races of people. Like, I just, no. Though I love, okay, clarifying that I do love Dungeons and Dragons, I obviously do. I love these stories, I love fantasy, but sometimes we get a little bit carried away if it's not used like well. If it's not used well, then I don't like it. A good example of like a story that uses fantasy racism to its advantage to improve a story or to expand characters without like hammering it over the head would be Dungeon Meshi, aka Delicious in Dungeon. I know it's really popular right now. Everybody knows about this show. If you don't, watch it. It's amazing. But they do a great job of covering fantasy racism. Even in the manga, they do a great job of like using it as a storytelling outlet and to explain character motivations and show that racism is far deeper than, oh my god, you just don't like me. It's like a generational thing, and it's more deeper than people like allow it to be, and it has history to it, which Dungeon Meshi does so well. Another example of a story that doesn't use it at all would be honestly any of Transplanner RPG's stories and actual plays. Transplanner RPG is like a company that is run by queer and POC people who take the TTRPG space and really expand on it for different stories and beautiful worlds to take hold, while also holding space for people who don't get representation a lot in Dungeons and Dragons and most fantasy spaces in general. Anyways, that rant aside, I'm still working on Aiden and his story along with my siblings, so got some work to do. And that's Aiden. I have grown to love this character because at the beginning when I first created him, I honestly didn't like him, and I think that's the best part of working on these and revisiting this old stuff. And that's it for this video. I know it was way longer than I thought it was gonna be, but I'm really happy I got a chance to talk about these OCs that I adore yapping about, but never get a real chance to go into detail about their stories and their lives, and I haven't even finished. So this is not even the full cast. There are 3 characters aside from the ones that I just mentioned in this video that also are a big part of the story, and hopefully a part 2, but that will honestly be a while. I'll probably upload a few videos in between that, so you know you don't get sick of me yapping about heads of paper as a story.